Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video, I'm going to take you through Aussie US dollar and going to look at whether price could potentially reverse back to a couple of points of interest, as well as a general update to Aussie US dollar and the potential for price to move in a particular way. So, looking at Aussie US dollar, we're just going to take a look again at some volume analysis here. What I have on the screen this time is a little bit of a split screen, so I apologize if the levels don't seem very clear. But I'm just going to continue with some volume analysis for now, just because I think it's really important to show these kind of key areas in the markets and just another form of support and resistance, and maybe it will help you in the future point out these key areas for yourself. But looking at Aussie US dollar, we can see that price came up into this point of control here, and what they call it is a naked point of control, and what they mean by that is that it's untested for some time. So you can see here that this yellow line that's outstretched here had been come into contact with price yesterday. So price came up into this level, didn't get the initial reaction. In fact, price actually moved a little bit higher, and we actually ended up rejecting the value area high instead. So if you look to the left, you can see this area up in here is the value area high of that particular week, and price came up into that instead and started to reject to the downside. Now, looking at the general profile picture and the general trend for the market for the Australian dollar, we're pretty much heading to the upside. So in this kind of situation, you know, I'm looking at the trend, I'm looking at prices making higher highs and higher lows. I want to be a particular buyer of this market, but where do I want to be a buyer from? And does it mean we have to be buyers of the market initially? Could we still look for opportunities on the potential reversal of the potential for it to come back to a point of interest? What I mean by that is if price does decline here, okay, now we are at a key support area as well, but if price does decline further here, the next point of interest is going to be this 7014 area, which is last week's point of control. So what I'm looking for is if price does trade back within last week's value area high, you can see I've marked that out as 7069. If price was to trade back within last week's value, reject it, it could head towards the 7014 area, which would be an area of interest for potential buyers to come back into the market. Now, price might not do that. We may actually get a rejection of where we're at the minute, because what's quite interesting about this area here is that we are back at value area high. Now, in a recent video, I talked about when price tends to break out of a particular value area, we often see price come and retest that and either reject it or trade back within it, depending on obviously the buyers and sellers in control of the market at that particular point. Now, just to kind of confirm that, you can see back at this larger profile here on the weekly that if I draw a straight line, we can see that price broke out of that volume area, came back, retested it, and broke to the downside just through here. After this market was developed, going into the next week, you can see that price broke back within the value area high. Where did it trade up to? Sorry, back within the value area low. Where did it trade? Back towards the value area high of that previous week. Okay, following on from that, we can see that price has now broken last week's value area high. So could price start to find some support here as well? There's definitely some potential for that. Now, you can also see this from the point of view on the daily update. You can see here, so the daily chart, I've got daily volume profiles here, basically just the same information as what we have on the weekly ones. I've just changed the color of them slightly so they're easier to make out. But looking at yesterday's analysis was quite interesting. So first of all, where are my points of interest? Well, my point of interest was this value area high marked out in blue, or the second area of interest is 70148. So I'm expecting price to form a retracement phase, because when the market's making higher highs and higher lows, I'm looking for price to pull back into key structure points for either price to continue that move or come into an area of key resistance where that price begins to fade. Now I'm looking at this as a potential upward trend. We're looking for a bit of dollar downside at the moment, so we could start to see a bounce in the Aussie US dollar price. And price has come up into this key area here. So essentially as well, when we're looking at that, can we trade it back to that point? And what I wanted to show you was yesterday's profile formed a point of control around about 7105. And you can see again, just to kind of reiterate on breaking through value areas, price broke through the value area low, which is this orange dotted line through there. Broke through the value area low, it comes back up, it retests it as well as yesterday's point of control and forms a reversal setup to the downside. So that would have been a really nice opportunity actually to take a potential position back down towards that value area high area. Now price is at this, we can look for a couple of different things. You know, what we could be looking for is price to either break back within the current day's value area. Now, the volume profiles will be built up as the day goes on. I particularly like to use the day before and the weekly together. I don't particularly like to use it as it is building information because it can change quite quickly. Although if price was to kind of break back above these highs here and even break back within last week's yesterday's value area low, I think we could use that as a potential opportunity for price to start rejecting the weekly value area high and move higher, because now that price has broken through 70942, I don't think this area is now valid. What we did see was a rejection at that value area high. So if price is going to continue higher, it should break that area. Now what's quite interesting, if it does start breaking above this area, we've got lots of low volume up through here. Now price can move quite quickly through low volume areas, so be interesting to see how price does react above this high, because we could see a sharp move back up into the 7260s for Aussie if it was to create that move that could potentially form through here. So just to kind of recap, couple of points of interest: if price is going to trade below value area high on the weekly, look for a move to the point of control where we could see some longs stepping in. If not, and we see a rejection here and price moves higher, breaks through this particular high that has been formed, then we could see price move very quickly towards the 7260s. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it made sense. If it did, leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel to see some more Forex trading content, and I'll speak to you in the next video.